Hello, everybody. Knock, knock. Who's there? Actually, Manny, there's a very funny joke about that whole knock, knock thing. Lee, one of the organizers of the San Antonio Salsa Festival, BIG San Antonio, we were at this video shoot recording a movie, Mono, the original Shine, before it went live and big to the big theaters. And he kept on doing knock knock, and I thought he was saying Magna, but like in a really weird way. And so I was like having a conversation with somebody else, and I kept like trying to avoid his hand, and he kept on doing knock knock, and he was trying to do, what was he trying to do? I think he was trying to do like starfish, interrupting starfish. And when you say knock knock and the person says who's there, and then they say interrupting starfish, and you say interrupting some, and then you, as you're trying to finish it, they basically just put their hand in your face, and that's interrupting starfish. So not as exciting as I thought it would be, but it was quite funny. And Lee and I still have that joke up until today. So hello to everyone else. Everyone who is logging in, please, as always, say hi when you get in here and let me know where you're from, where you're visiting from, and if you're going to make it to BIG in San Antonio. Also, if I'm extra glistening today, it is because it's bloody hot in New York. I think it's like 35 degrees Celsius outside, and there's no wind, and I would love to turn on my AC, but then I want to make sure you guys can hear me clearly. So I'm skipping the AC for the benefit of all of you. And also, Diana from the festival is logged into chat. So I'm going to make her a moderator here. So if there's any questions that you guys have regarding the festival itself, Diana can answer that. The festival is happening in San Antonio, Texas next month. Next month. Next week, July 18th to July 21st. I've been to this festival. I think this is my 5th year going, and I've always had such a great time. One of the best things about the festival is the fact that they have live bands every single night. Some really good quality bands too. Diana, if you want to throw that in the chat, who's actually going to be there, that would be awesome. I don't remember off the top of my head. And one of my favorite parts about this festival is their Friday afternoon dodgeball competition, which is possibly one of the most ridiculously silly competitive games ever. I've never had so much fun. I've also had some very lovely injuries from, rolling in the carpet and getting slammed in the face with a ball from a little kid, if I remember correctly. Anyways, if you have not been to this event, definitely check it out. And there is a promo code, so stick around until the end of the live, which is just 30 minutes, where I will give you guys that promo code so you can get 10% off the Congress Pass if you register today. Hello to Sandra from Amsterdam. She should be slop leckering, no? Isn't it kind of late over there? I am surprised you guys are logged on in Europe, especially. Hey, Jackie. Is this Jackie Martinez, who is 5'9" and has issues dancing with some shorter leads? And Raquel, hi. Raquel, tú vas a gustar este festival. It's tremendo. I'm sure you're going to love it. Bachata Heights, Andy Montañez, Domingo Quiñones, and Grupo Nietzsche. So yeah, it is going to be a dope event. Hello, Juan. I'm looking forward to having you in the workshop. So without further ado, let me wipe the sweat off my face because it's so bloody hot. And one of the reasons I wanted to do this live in association with BIG is, one, because it is a really fantastic event. And if you haven't been there, I would love for you guys to take the opportunity to go this year. If not this year, check it out. And next year, I'm sure they'll keep on going. I think this is your 8th year, right, guys? So I have to at least do 10 years, right? So if you're not going to be able to make it this year, definitely check it out in a future year. And if you are going to be there, and I have the honor of having your presence in my workshop, It is on Sunday, and I think right now it's a gray block from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Is it 9 a.m. to 12 p.m.? 9 a.m. Jesus. After Saturday night's dancing. Anyways, right now it might be a gray block. The workshop schedule is still getting updated. So I wanted to let you guys know what that workshop entails. It is a workshop that's mastering the lead and follow connection. Yes, 9 to 12. Damn, I have to be up. Listen, if I'm up early at 9 a.m., you guys better not make any excuses, all right? Because I'm pretty much sure that I'll be dancing all the way until the end. The next BIG Salsa Festival is going to be next weekend, July 18th to the 21st in San Antonio, Texas. Mr. Amazing 169. All right, so regarding the workshop, Mastering Lead and Follow Connection. This workshop is a 3-hour workshop. The reason I had asked for it to be that way is because last year I had done a spins workshop combined with a lead and following spins workshop. But because it was broken up, some of the people that showed up for the second half did not know the technique for the first half, and it became a little bit difficult to integrate the material. So I had specifically requested that we do 1 3-hour block. So if you are planning on attending, please try to be there from the very beginning, because all of the material in this workshop is designed to be progressive and build upon what we start off with. As for the workshop, there's no partnering. There's partnering. There's no partner term patterns and anything like that. The whole purpose of this workshop is about connecting. It's about understanding connection as best as possible, so that we stop focusing on remembering rehearsed moves as leads and as follows, and start focusing really on the connection and how to read all the multitude of signals that we get from our partners. So we're going to be going through a bunch of exercises that help us develop that sensitivity to points of connection and points of contact, and that are going to help us kind of break out of that anticipatory stage that we're often in, and focus really on connecting with our partner and giving clear indications of what we want, what we're asking for, what we can do, and what we can't do. So there's going to be a lot of information in this workshop, and ideally I would like it if everyone can make it right from the beginning at 9 a.m. with me, wake up, and then you guys can like crash for the rest of the day, okay? Now, I also had fielded some questions from all of you on Instagram and on Facebook, and I want to first off say that thank you so much for your participation. Thank you so much for sharing and kind of being a little bit vulnerable with, you know, what the challenges you face yourself and what you have a difficulty with. I think I've always said this, there's really no way to move forward and to find solutions to anything if we're not even willing to admit that there is a problem in the first place. So when I do post those questions on my social media and in these groups, and you guys actually interact, engage, and share your experiences, it makes a world of a difference, and it's what allows me to be here today and me to even suggest this workshop. Because one of the reasons I do a lead and follow connection workshop is because I know there are so many issues that are well beyond and well under the level of just memorizing a bunch of term patterns, leading and following them. And that's one of the reasons I focus on this. So before we go into some of the questions that I was asked, I just want to say thank you to all of you guys. So no hands. Wait, what's that? What's that in reference to, Diana? Also, I do have some things I want to say. As always, I have a lot to say. I probably have too much to say. I should probably be quiet sometimes. But as this is my live, I am going to answer these questions. With this chat, I know I'm going to be offering some advice and some tips, but I would love it if you guys can interact. If you have any questions, by all means, type it in the chat. If I am unable to get to your questions within this live, I will at some point try and get to them either in a future live or reply to them in the comments. So if you're watching this in a replay, type them in the comments. If you are live with me right now, type them in the chat. Thank you, Blanca. All right. So one of the things that we were talking about is Charleston on Instagram, I believe, mentioned something about one of the common problems that he has is when it comes to learning a term pattern, that he is in class and learning it with set partners, or even if they're rotating, to learn it with those partners and having a pretty easy time with them. But then when you get on the dance floor, having a difficult time adapting to followers who have not learned it. And this is another one of the reasons for this workshop, and the importance that I believe in really understanding that lead and follow connection is because uh, I find that most of us have a level of comfort that we're trying to arrive at. And once we get there, we tend to not like break out of that comfort. So we learn a couple of moves, and once it's good enough, we stick with those moves. Or we learn a couple of moves with a bunch of people that we are studying with, the school that we're going to. So we're there with fellow students, and then when we go out, we don't dance with anybody else but those fellow students because that's our level of comfort. And to really be good at leading or following, it's really important to break out of your comfort zone. I am going to, Diana signed in again. Who's big salsa festival then? um, I personally had that experience when I first started dancing. I was taking like classes to learn the Colombian basic step, which was like a step, 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 kick, step, 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 kick. Not linear. There was no crossbody lead or on one or on two. Really, we just kind of danced, right? And so I had learned these steps from this instructor and asked him about going out social dancing. Then he took me to a club. I stopped going to the lessons and I went out to the club all the time, but I always danced with him because I felt very comfortable with him. That was the guy who taught me the basic step in the first place. And then I remember dancing with somebody else. And I had a really difficult time following what he was leading. And he stopped me and he said, because I was very eager to do it. So I said, "Oh, can you do it again? Can you repeat that?" And he stopped me and he said, "You know, I'm doing the exact same moves that that guy is doing, but you're so used to his lead that you can't follow me." And that was one of the moments where I realized that I was getting too comfortable and that I needed to break out of that if I really wanted to be a good follower. So one of my goals was to be a good follower. And since then, I stopped dancing with the same person more than two songs in a row. And that helped develop my skill because I I was always challenged with something new, always challenged with even the same moves but done differently. And if you want to improve your lead or your follow, that is one of the steps that you have to take. So for Charleston, but anybody else who's having this issue, and I know quite a lot of people who are even logged into this live today, friends of mine who have this issue as well. I I would encourage you guys, one, to first try your new moves. So when you go out dancing, again, getting out of the comfort zone. So there are a few ways to get out of the comfort zone. There are a few ways that we actually stay in that comfort zone. So one of those is when you're learning new moves, go out and practice them, right? So maybe you're in class and you've learned some, well, I don't even know the names that they come up with for these moves today. But say you learn a new move. You already have 15 moves, and this is move number 16. When you go out social dancing, the chances of you going back and just doing those 15 moves is pretty high because your body's comfortable. It's used to doing that often. And so if you really want to get better, not only at the lead or the follow, but also at improving and increasing your range and your repertoire, I would recommend going out and trying to do that 16th move as often as possible. If you are dancing with your fellow students, other people that are actually in the class that have learned this move, then see how close to perfection you can get it, right? Try to make sure that there are no hiccups. Try to make sure that, especially considering that the other student also knows this move, it should be pretty easy to execute if both of you guys are practicing it. So in this way, not only are you practicing your move, but so is the other person. If you are going to break out of that comfort zone of dancing with fellow students and dancing with somebody new, then obviously you're going to have the challenge of somebody not knowing what you're going to do. And you're really going to have to, as a leader, lead that properly. As a follower, of course, you're often subject to whatever the leads come up with. Um, and then there are a couple of ways, this is for leads. There are a couple of ways that you you can assist yourself in learning something new. One is if you're going to try it with somebody new, preface it with saying that you're trying something new. There are many times that I dance, especially with friends, where I want to try something and I'm like, ooh, I want to try this move. Can you do this again? And so they're already alert that I'm going to be doing something that I haven't really tried, that I might not be comfortable with, and they end up being a little bit more supportive. When I'm leading, even if I'm leading somebody who I don't know and there's a move that I've just learned and I want to try it, then I let them know. I'm like, hey, I don't have this quite down pat, but I'd like to try it on you. And so it also gives us a chance to kind of break the ice before we actually go into the movement itself. And then finally, you can always ask for feedback as leads and as follows. Always ask for feedback. If you really want to improve, the best way to do it is to try and constantly learn. And one of the ways to do that is on the dance floor itself. So ask for feedback from your partner. Say you did a move and say, hey, how did that feel to you? I'm just curious because I'm trying this new thing out or this new styling or whatever. And I wanted to know if that affects you in any way or feels all right. And in this way, you can get immediate feedback and you can make immediate changes. And that way, you're improving much faster than going home and saying, oh man, I tried that move 3 or 4 times and it didn't work out and you don't know exactly why. Let me take a look at um, some questions here. Hi, John. Can you say why is it again good to say no sometimes to dances? John, a friend of mine from France, is asking about why it's good to say no sometimes for dances. I have a couple of videos on rejection. I did a YouTube live Q&A on rejection, and there's a TED Talk if you want to look that up on the benefits of rejection. That's a good resource for all of you if you are curious about how to ask and how to handle rejection or deliver rejection. So not going to talk about that today, but I will put them into the links after this live is finished if you need that as a resource. Diana's asking, how do you get out of your comfort zone when you go to clubs and lounges if no one asks you to dance? Or you end up dancing with someone who only does the basic step? Excellent question. I have always personally been quite a go-getter in terms of what I want. So if I want to dance and no one's asking me to dance, I go and do the asking. It takes a little bit, maybe more courage, especially if your level is not that high. But there's nothing wrong with prefacing anything that you want to do in life with a little cue, just saying, hey, would you like to dance? I just started out. I don't know this that well or whatever, but I saw you dancing. I think you're amazing, and I would love to dance with you. That's a beautiful way to also let somebody know what level you're at, and it kind of gives them this opportunity of saying, oh wow, this person sees me as a good dancer, and I have an opportunity to help them grow. So I would say if they don't ask, by all means, take that first step and ask them. And if you end up being on the more advanced side of your partner and your partner only knows the basic step, then find a way to make that 5 minutes as enjoyable doing the basic as possible. The basic step, sometimes we kind of frown upon it. We're like, the basic is so boring. But really, boredom is a state of mind, in my opinion. So if you are having, like, I've danced merengue. I have this new Magna Renge version of merengue dancing, which I found it kind of like boring to just go side to side and whatnot. So I would end up getting at least 3 people to dance, and we're all still doing the very basic step, but now we're like trying to pretzel and tangle ourselves, and it becomes a lot more fun. It's still merengue, it's still the dance. Maybe it's not the traditional way of dancing it, but I found a way to make it more interesting and more entertaining with the Magna Renge. Exactly. That's right, Manny. With salsa, if you're dancing with someone who's just doing the basic step, there are many other ways to connect with that person than just doing complicated turn patterns. There might be a way that you can initiate a certain movement. Like sometimes if I'm dancing with someone who only knows their basic, I find a way to show them some shines or show them a move or like lead them slightly maybe into a side basic and then get them to get out of their comfort zone, but not pressuring them and not demeaning or being condescending towards them. So there's always something we can do with any situation that we're in. It might be basic, but it doesn't have to be boring. The boredom part of it, the boring part of it, is really up to you and how you want to look at it. So something to keep in mind. Martin, when starting out, I danced only with my wife, but we made an agreement to dance with 3 other people each night to get comfortable with dancing with other people. The first 2 to 3 dances after a lesson usually fair game to continue practicing with other members of the class. I think that's brilliant. Make an arrangement. I mean, especially if you are dancing with someone who happens to be your significant other, or even a friend. Even if you have like friends in your school who you tend to go out partying with regularly, make a pact. Say, all right, let's see who can dance with 10 new people, you know, and we have to try this move on each of those people, and then we can see our success rate. And that way you start to go out to have fun, of course, because that's the social dancing aspect for me, at least, is about having fun. But you've also put a different intention to going out and social dancing. So you're not just going out and going through the movements, but you've actually decided you're going to try and ask new people. So now you're focusing on how you make requests. You'll probably end up dealing with some rejection as well. So you'll be dealing with that instead of just being comfortable asking the people that you know. By saying you're going to try this move on every partner, all of those 10 partners, that means that you're going to definitely at least get to try it 10 times. And because you're also going to evaluate the success rate of whether or not you executed it well, when it felt good, how many times it felt good, that means that you're also going to be analyzing it as you're dancing. And so in this way, it'll be a lot easier for you to improve quickly, get more comfortable asking, get more comfortable with rejection, and be a better dancer, be a better social dancer, leader and a follower. Oh, and Lee Rios just joined the chat. Lee is the organizer of the IG San Antonio. He's a friend of mine for many, many years. And actually, we have a dance from last year's BIG. We were dancing on the carpet in front of the band. So you had the band, the stage up here. There's a little sliver of a carpet over here in front of the stage. And then there was a bunch of chairs and then a big, huge dance floor behind the chairs. And we were dancing right in between the seating area and the band. And Lee did this move. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with it or if you've seen it, but basically the guy, if this is the guy and this is his legs, will like use his leg to send the girl behind him. You'll see it when you see it. But anyways, Lee did this move on me, and he did it kind of a little bit hard. And I let the first one pass, but then he did it one side, and then he did another move to the other side with his other leg. And you know, the strength and resistance and force that we have in our hands is much different than what we have in our legs. And so he basically, like, what I felt was like he basically kicked me twice. And so I'm curious. Can anyone guess what I did? I'm gonna count to 10 on my fingers because I know there's a lag here. Can anyone guess what I did after I felt like I got kicked twice? One. I wish I had the Jeopardy music. Do, 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 do. No one's guessing. Somebody's got to guess. And you can't guess if you're Lee. Lee, do not get. Obviously, Lee, you know what I did. You guys are both right. I didn't punch him, but I kicked him back. I actually kicked him almost like a Taekwondo stance. I kicked him, and then he kicked me back. He actually kicked me back. And so we were in front of the stage. Oh my God, I'm dying thinking about it. We were in front of the stage. The band is singing. Like, I'm sure the singers and the band members are like, what the hell are these people doing? There's a whole audience looking at us. And then there's like all the other artists who have just finished performing, also sitting out in the VIP seating area, who were like looking at us like, what in the hell? And we were kicking each other, like just kick, like a blood sport kick, where it's like Van Damme does a kick and then the other guy does a kick and he's like, whatever. Anyways, it was hilarious. I will post the video, so remind me if it's not up in 2 weeks that I got to get on that. But it's a hilarious dance. Anyways, Lee is one of the organizers. You did not win, Lee. Anyways, Lee is one of the organizers of this event. Fantastic dancer, really hilarious person, and a very, very funny dodgeball player. I'm not going to say he's good. I am going to say he's pretty damn funny. Did totally went out like a punk. Okay, so I swear, I say 30 minutes, and I think 30 minutes is going to be a long time, and 25 minutes has already passed. So there are a couple of things I want to mention. One more thing in terms of the tip regarding what Charleston said, which is advice for leaders and followers, which is not everything you do is going to work with everybody. I know, I just went from like super funny story to back to serious. But not everything you do is going to work with everyone. And that's okay. It doesn't have to, which is why we learn many moves, so that what doesn't work, we either try and find a way to adapt it, or we abandon it and move on to something else. So just keep that in mind as leaders and as followers. When you're learning something, take a look at your teachers, see what their body types are like. Are they tall? Do they have long arms? Are you a similar body type or very different from them? Because what they're able to accomplish with their body, you might not necessarily be able to do the same. However, it does not mean that it cannot be executed, which, going back to Jackie, your question or your comment about being 5'9" and having a difficult time dancing with shorter leads. One, for your leaders, I've danced with tall people. I've danced with women who are 5'10", close to 6 feet tall even, and I'm 5'2". And yeah, it might look funny when I dance with them, and I might be jumping up to give them a turn, but I'm going to do what I need to do to make it as comfortable for my partner as possible. And I know 5'2" is not that tall, but sometimes I feel tall. But I've also danced with really short guys, and I've danced with little kids. And you know what I do when they're trying to give me a turn? I get down, I bend in my knees significantly to be able to do that. And yeah, maybe it doesn't look that great, it's not aesthetically pleasing, and it's not super comfortable, but it's really only for 5 minutes. So as a lead and as a follow, try to think of your partner's comfort whenever you're dancing with someone with whom you're not accustomed to dancing. And instead of avoiding them, this would be advice for your leads, Jackie, but Jackie, you're here, and I don't know if they're here. Maybe you can send this video out to them later to watch. But for the leads who are dancing, who are shorter, and there are taller followers out there, look at it as a challenge to improve and to see what you can actually do. Because again, if you stay in your comfort zone, dancing with the people that are your height, or that are at your level, or that are students, fellow students with you, you're going to improve, but not at the speed at which you could improve. But if you try to dance with someone who is significantly taller, you're going to see what you can lead. And we're also going to get into that in the workshop in San Antonio, which is how to use all points of contact. It's not just about the connection in the hands, but it's about any point of contact that can be used as a lead, which means that someone that's leading someone who is much taller does not need to try and get the hand over the head. There are other ways to do it. So yeah. So for all my leads and for my follows, just keep that in mind, that not everything is going to work exactly as it did in class, or exactly as it did with the people you're usually dancing with. And that's okay, and that's beautiful, because you are from that point able to actually grow, able to develop a greater sense of awareness, and able to deliver a better connection. Because oftentimes when we get comfortable in a situation is when we tend to take it for granted. And when it's really easy, we even forget that we have a partner there. We just kind of do our own thing. And it's when it's difficult that we're forced to make the choice of, do I want to give up on this? Do I want to ignore this person and just go through my own thing, knowing that they're not feeling comfortable? Or do I want to really try and connect with this person? So difficulty is not something that we need to run away from. Challenges are not something that we should avoid, but we should try and embrace them and find the growth within them. On that note, I know a lot of you asked me a ton of questions. I will be actually adapting my workshop and what I plan to teach in BIG on Sunday, 9 to 12, with some of the feedback that you guys gave me. I will also try and develop a course on lead and follow connection. I have currently launched my online learning platform, learn.magnagopal.com. There are spins courses there, plus a coaching option. So if spins are something you have difficulty with which a lot of you did mention in the comments, that is a perfect solution if that's what you want to improve. And I will be adding more content there. BIG San Antonio is going to be next week, July 18th to 21st. If you want more information, you can find BIG Salsa Festival San Antonio on Facebook or BIG Salsa Festival San Antonio.com to take you directly to their link. Lee is in the chat. I'm not limiting the amount of people in the class. I would actually love to have a nice big class. So the more people you get to interact with and maneuver around, the better it ends up being. So you can really test your ability to step properly, to create the proper resistance, to lead and to follow precisely. That's the whole point of that course. And also, let me just take a quick look through some of these comments. Felice, good that you're ready for dodgeball. I definitely am. That's what I'm coming there for. Workshop is a bonus, but really it's a dodgeball. Jess, your question about as a best follower, what in your opinion is a good follower? I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I'll talk about following in a future live. I'll try and write up a blog on that as well, because I know that's something that's important to a lot of people, including myself, and it's something I'm always working on as well. Lee, compliment your partner, dance in alignment, who you're with. Magna, yes, always compliment your partner. Even if they're kicking you, just kick them back. Complimentary, see, now there's balance there. And Jackie, very important to know that and take those things into. Thank you. So real quick, if you guys do want to improve your spins, learn.magnagopal.com has courses online that are available with coaching. Next weekend is going to be the BIG San Antonio Salsa Festival, July 18th to 21st of 2019, just in case you guys are watching this in like the year 2024, who knows? You're like, wait a minute, there's no event next weekend. So 2019 event is happening next weekend. It is a really great weekend with live music, lots of beautiful dancers, a great assortment of workshops. But if you're planning to take workshops, definitely come check out Sunday, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. I know it's very early, but I'll be there, and I would be very honored to have you guys present for my workshop as well. And finally, super, super important, if you guys can please take the time to go into the description, there is a feedback form for this live Q&A. I would love to hear your thoughts, and you can also pose your questions in there. If there's certain topics you want me to cover or questions you'd like to ask me, that's a great place to do it. It makes a world of a difference to me to know that this is being received, that you guys are enjoying it, that you're benefiting from it. That's why I'm doing it. And yeah. And finally, what else? If I did not get to your question, if you guys ask me some questions in here, I will do my best to answer it in a future live. You can, if you're watching this as a replay, throw your questions into the comments. Same thing, I'll try and address them in the comments. If they are more in depth, I will answer them either in a live Q&A or one of my Mpowered live videos. And for those of you who are kind of signing in now, there's some other videos that you guys can watch that will also help you when it comes to social dancing and your connection with your partner. There is the videos on rejection, on when and how to say no as well. There's the benefits of rejection with my TED Talk, which you can find if you search for benefits of rejection, Magna Gopal. And there's also videos on communicating discomfort, which is really, really, really important, because as we are trying new things on the dance floor, it's not going to go perfectly, and that's okay. But we need to feel comfortable communicating that to our partners, lead or follow, that something didn't feel right, so that not just we don't get injured, but also so that our partner can then make adjustments and improve as a lead or as a follow. So keep that in mind. I will add those things into the links below. Um, Thank you so much, all of you, for joining me today. I cannot wait to be in San Antonio. Lee, I can't wait to kick your butt in dodgeball. Because yeah, you know which team I'm on. I'm on the one person's defense team, basically. But I will join your team if you wear a one-piece thong spandex thing that you always. I don't know where you find them, and I don't know how you have the balls to wear them, but you do. Very impressive. Thank you again, guys. Don't forget to fill out the feedback form below, please, please, please. Check out learn.magnagopal.com for the courses that are available and enroll in there, or leave your email so that you can be notified of future courses. Come to the festival, and oh, how did I forget that? Bonus promo code MAGNA for 10% off of the Congress Pass. So if you guys want to register now, if you have not already registered and you can make it last minute, use the promo code MAGNA for 10% off. And thank you, guys. We will chat again very, very soon. I hope you guys have a wonderful summer wherever you are, and I hope you're not cooking in the heat like I am right now. Ugh.